Welcome back, everyone. Last time we suffered two losses. Sliph Co was not kind to us. First, a glitch that cost us Vaporeon. Then we lost our boy K. Drool, and of course Mud, who has been with us since the very beginning. Team's missing some pretty big hitters right now. Calyrex is here because Calyrex has a grass move, and Tyranitar is here because, you know, it's Tyranitar. I'm pretty sad about all this. It's been a week, but, you know, I still haven't really processed everything that happened in that last episode. We need to get to Cinnabar and the Seafoam Islands. I think Nidoking can learn Surf and Strength, so do I really just give it to Nidoking here and kill two slots, or let's think about this. Okay, so you're gonna get Surf regardless because you're just a mixed attacker, honestly. Yeah, we get rid of Water Pulse, we give him Surf. Strength. I do not want to waste anyone's thoughts on Strength, but if I give it to Big One, what does Big One have? You so desperately need a poison move. That's stronger than Poison Sting. Jesus. We have to have something. Well, we have to have something. Let's see here. Poison Ground, Water, and Grass, and Psychic. So... Oh, Strength is a fighting type now? Alright, well yeah, we'll do Brick Break. Okay, that makes things way easier. I gotta have another poison move, right? No? Nothing? That's ass. Okay. Oh, we have to beat Sabrina first. I was thinking way too far ahead. Where's a good training spot for right now? Let's see here. The issue is that we need to get Calyrex and Tommy up to speed. First things first, let me go toss some items from here because I saw these last episode and I want to make sure that they're just not here at all. Okay. Let me think here. What's the best place for training? It would have to be... That's Cerulean. It would have to be over here, right? Yeah, it'd have to be like Celadon. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. Did I not nickname him? Damn. What a tragedy. I must have skipped that over. Oh, cut. Yeah, okay. Guess we just go back over here. Man, nothing really? How's Lavender Tower? I guess Diglett Cave has Pokemon in the 30s. Maybe not. That would be a bad idea. Let's get to the healing square. Playing level 18. That's not bad for training, right? But that cut spot has some legendaries that we could grind on. I'll keep smacking the light over here. How much will growth give us here? I don't really know what level I want to get them to. Maybe 30 would be fine. I mean, Koga was already stronger, was on par with this, so I don't know how strong Sabrina is going to be. I think like late 30s, early 40s, right? I don't know how far we want to go then. Let's start with some Raw talk, because I don't know what happened this week. It was a fine episode of Raw, but I got so sleepy. and my boy Sami Zayn came out, cut a promo, and then I just kind of knocked out. Woke up and the main event was ending. I don't remember anything standing out. I just remember enjoying it, and then you just got super sleepy. Kind of the same thing with AEW. I'm still very confused as to why this Nigel McGuinness Bryan match is happening the way that it is. Just, I know their history. That's not the issue. It's just the whole Darby thing that I talked about last week. I'm still not. I don't really get the idea that, you know, Moxley went around and tried to kill the world champion, and then Tony Khan doesn't do a single thing about it. I don't know, man. I'm kind of like just mentally checking out there. Just, I don't know, man. It is what it is there. SmackDown was cool. That's Grimsnarl's sprite. That's kind of terrifying. That's just a naked dude. Yeah, SmackDown was cool. The Roman and Cody promo was nice. I like when they film stuff like that. Kind of feel like that could have just been an in-ring promo, though. But, I don't know. It is what it is. I think it's funny that they ran out the entire arena for that one promo. Like, that shit's insane to me. Just the money that went into that one scene. Just insane. Yeah, I don't know. Bad Blood looks to be cool. The Hell in a Cell will be fine. I'm not worried about that. Hoping they let Punk bleed, though. I mean, they should both bleed, but I'm hoping they let Punk bleed. It's just gonna feel weird and lame if there's no blood in that match. Everything else on the show, I'm Sammy and Gunther will have a great match. I'm not even doubting it, but I want to see Sammy win, and there's like zero chance of that happening. So it's just, you know, it's just to pad out Gunther's reign and give him back some of the aura from when, you know, he lost to Sammy at WrestleMania. So it's cool. I get it, but I think Sammy's overdue for a title reign. I think it should have been him in Montreal against Roman. You know, that should have been the moment they pulled the trigger, and I'll never forgive them for not pulling the trigger then and there, because that was his moment. And you just don't get a moment like that twice, you know. What I didn't realize this week was that Penguin came out on HBO, and I've been looking forward to that series forever, and then it came out and I didn't even know about it. So I'm gonna have to start watching it, because you know, I don't know. I think that the Batman was probably the best. Well, see, the thing is, the Dark Knight exists, you know, and it's hard for me to say it's better than Dark Knight. But man, it's like a really close second. But man, it was real good. I can't think of any real issues that I had with the Batman outside of the way that Joker looked. And hopefully they fix that up. And then Dark Knight is just, you know, it's a perfect movie. No flaws. Could watch that movie over and over again with zero problem. I don't know, it's hard to say which one's better than the other. That being said, that ending of the Batman where he's like leading the people that got them through the water, 10 out of 10 shot. Just absolutely perfect. But yeah, I love that movie. And then they announced Penguin, and I was like, oh, tight, I'll check that out. And then I didn't know when it was coming. I was just like, oh, it's out? Tight. I'll have to make time to watch that. And then I just have not made time to watch it. I'm hearing good things about it. I'm also hearing good things about the Cape Crusader on Amazon Prime. But I just have not... I have not felt the drive to log on to Amazon Video. It's not even like it's difficult, you know? But I don't know. There's just something about Apple's or Amazon Prime's layout that just bugs me to navigate through. I mean, the show looks good. I'm just happy they returned to that animation style, but I think one thing that scares me is the idea of Bruce Timm pushing his weird fetishes onto the show and having Bruce fuck Barbara. Like, it's just a matter of time, you know. And I don't get it. I don't know why he's so intent on that. Personally, I'm a supporter of Dick Babs. I just think that's the right shit. You know, I get that Starfire is important, but I don't know. I like keeping the Bat family within the Bat family. I don't know if I phrased that correctly and it sounded kind of weird, but I don't know. I just feel like they have better stories with Adult Dick and Babs. But then again, I feel like I haven't really given a shit about the Bat family since New 52. Not to say there hasn't been interesting stories in that time. It's just that I don't know. I feel like DC had some solid stuff going in pre New 52, and then they were so desperate for that synergy with the movies and the CW shows that they just kind of threw it all away, and it really bums me out because there were issues for sure with pre New 52, but those were all things that you could have fixed with just new creative teams on books, or just by pushing different series. Instead, it was like Batman was on 20 different books, and I don't know. What if we just didn't do that? You know, what if we promoted other heroes? It doesn't help that you have, you know, the animated shows, and it's like, yeah, we have a Batman cartoon, and we have cartoons that aren't Batman that we're not gonna really push or try to hype up. Green Lantern got fucked over because the toy line. That was tragic. Because Green Lantern was genuinely good. And I say this as someone who liked Brave and the Bold. I thought that was one of my favorite versions of Batman. But they never capitalized on it. They had all these heroes that they could have just been like, hey, let's make a Blue Beetle cartoon. You know, they had the opportunity to really just push some of those characters on their own, and then just didn't do it. So I don't really know why they didn't want to capitalize on it. But then in the comics, you know, as rough as things might have been, none of the stories from U-52, maybe outside of Grant Morrison's Superman, really needed a reboot for anything. And even then, you know, that story was all about the fourth world fairies and imps, so they easily could have been like, oh yeah, you know, they did a little retcon there. I don't know, I haven't cared about the DC universe since then, which at this point is like, what, 12 years? 14 years maybe, I think. But I still care about the DC universe, and like, those characters meant something to me, and the way they went out was just so sad. And it influenced all, like, even like Batman Inc., which carried over, still got fucked over because Dick just went back to being Nightwing for no reason, you know. And it just felt like all the character growth that had happened over the past, at that point, what, 20, 30 years of comics just went out the window for synergy with a shitty movie universe that no one likes and died a long drawn out death. But yeah, I don't know. It bums me out. Then, like, they aged up Superman's kid. They aged up John. I want to say Chris for a second, but that's another character. They got rid of Chris, and then they aged up John for no reason, and then had him get tortured in space for a couple years or something. Just baffling decisions. Yeah, I don't get it, man. Tim Drake in general is a mess. I liked him pre-New 52. He was my favorite member of the Bat family. He looked like he was on track to being, you know, the next Batman. They really sold us on, like, yeah, this is this is the Robin that's perfect. This is the Robin that has really followed Batman's, you know, guidelines to the T. Whereas with Dick, you know, Dick was his own man essentially, which I totally get the appeal of. But you know what made Dick special was that he wasn't Batman, and then you had Tim who wanted to be Batman, and he did his best to do it. And then they fucking just erased his entire history, and we're like, yeah, your costume looks shitty now. Your whole family relationship is weird again. Your supporting cast is just fucking gone, unrecognizable, or forgotten. We're gonna have you break up with Stephanie Brown after finally getting together to put you in a gay relationship for some reason. Like, I don't know, man. The way they treated Tim Dick is so weird. It's just one of those characters where it's like they wanted to do all these things, and instead of creating a new character that just could have been those things, they just fucked up Tim's history, and we're like, nah, this is who Tim Drake is now. And if you're a fan of the old Tim Drake, you know, fuck off and die. I don't know, man. Like, I'm still not entirely sure what happened with Green Lantern after New 52. I remember reading it, and then New 52 happened, and I was like, I feel like I'm missing a bunch of chapters here. And I never really got back to it. And that was like my second favorite series at the time. Flash, dog, what the whole Wally West shit, that was tragic. They made my boy a murderer. Like, I don't, who heard that pitch and was like, yeah, man, that's the story we want to go with. I don't know, it sucks because I care about these characters. Like, they genuinely mean a lot to me. But I also haven't cared in like 12 years because of all the shit they've done with them. And now when I care about them, it's more of a, damn, I wish that you weren't suffering under some shitty writers and shitty editorial and shitty owners. I don't know, man. I want them to get better, but I don't see how that's possible right now. The Absolute series that was announced and has slowly been dripped out, like, Absolute Batman looks fucking stupid. Motherfucker's built like a goddamn brick, and then his bat symbol is an axe for some reason. Just, it looks so dumb, and I don't understand. I feel like DC has constantly tried to do an Ultimate style universe, and then they always just fill it with stupid shit. Like, you had the All-Star-verse, which could have been the one to go with, and it's like, alright, you have All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison. It's this touching tribute to the character. And then you have fucking Frank Miller's Batman, All-Star Batman and Robin, and it's the most incomprehensible shit you've ever read. And it's like, dude, what the fuck is this? You had the chance to just tell the story of like the perfect versions of these heroes, and then it's like, yeah, Batman paints himself fucking yellow so that he can make fun of Hal Jordan. Like, what are we doing, bro? And then, were there more All-Stars? I don't even remember. We got Earth Ones, which were all a jumbled mess. It doesn't make sense to me that DC keeps trying these things, but they don't have a cohesive idea in mind. And it can't be that difficult to just sit down one day and go, hey, we want to start a new universe. What do we do with this? What's our end goal? What are the major stories we want to retell and change or fix in some regards, you know? What should this character be? Who should this character associate with? What should they stand for? You're like, it can't be that fucking difficult to do that. And yet they continuously fuck it up. And I have zero faith in the Absolute line, or whatever the fuck it is they're doing now. I don't know. It just feels like at some point in time, DC went from this organic world that felt like the characters were alive on their own to this pure manufactured corporate synergy thing, and it kills me. it kills me to see how bad things have gotten, and it just never feels like they're improving. And I've never been a Marvel guy. Like, I think the characters are cool, but I just never got into reading it. But Spider-Man, that boy is suffering, man. Peter Parker, he's going through it right now, and it's crazy because editorial and the writing on Spider-Man have been what's kept me from reading Spider-Man. Every time I'm like, damn, I really want to catch up on Spider-Man, I hear like, oh yeah, now Spider-Man's a cuck, and then I see the pages, and I'm like, yeah, Spider-Man's a cuck. Why the fuck would I want to read that? You know, it blows my mind that you have so much of the fan base saying, hey, these stories are bad and we don't want them, and then editorial's like, nah, man, she's perfect. How could you not love what we're doing with Peter Parker? You know, it blows my mind. Like, I saw a letter, I don't know what they call it, but in the back page is when fans send in mail and then the writers answer it. And one fan was like, hey man, this is honestly pure dog shit. You know, no one's enjoying this. It's really bad. Why are you doing this to Peter? And then I don't know if it was the editor or the writer was like, no man, this shit's great. Sorry it's not for you, but you know, this story's been great and fans are loving it. And it's like, how delusional are you, bro? Like, there has not been one person who's been like, yeah man, I like Paul. I think Paul's a good character. Paul is arguably the worst character ever written in Spider-Man. He exists for no reason other than to cuck Spider-Man and just fuck things up for people that want to enjoy Spider-Man. And this isn't like a villain where it's like you're meant to hate him. You're meant to like Paul. You're meant to go, wow, Paul's such a great guy. I'm glad he was with MJ. And it's just like, nah, dude, I hope Paul dies. I hope Paul gets like shred apart in the worst way possible. Like, I hope that he swallows a bunch of magnets and then Magneto just fucking tears him apart. Like, physically just, and you just watch Paul get torn apart. But like, he was injected with Wolverine's healing factor, and then he just keeps coming back to life and just keeps getting tortured, and then that's his eternity. That's what I want for Paul. You know, it's so dumb. I so badly want to read Spider-Man, and then I think of all the bad decisions they're making, and it's just like, no, I don't want to read Spider-Man. I don't want to put myself through that. I don't want to watch my boy Peter Parker get put through these things. You know, because even though I've never read the comics, I've always loved the cartoons. I've always loved the movies. You know, the games. Like, Spider-Man has been such a big part of my youth, and my, like, Spider-Man PS4 and 5. Like, those have been such big games for me the past couple years. And then the comics just can't get it right. And I know there's the Ultimate, or the new Ultimate Spider-Man. I haven't had a chance to read it yet because I missed issue 1, so I have to wait for the volume 1 to come out, which I think came out a couple of weeks ago or something. So now I just got to pick it up. But it's crazy to me how poorly handled Spider-Man specifically is. Like, is he number 1 or number 2 now? I don't remember I don't know if he's ever passed Batman in terms of like popularity around the world, but he's one of the top 2. Like, he's above Superman, you know. He's either tied with or right below or above Batman, you know. It's crazy. And they can't fucking write him. Or they pick the shittiest writers, or they pick people who have no idea what the fans want in Spider-Man. Like, no, I don't want him to be forever in his 20s. I don't want him to be forever single. I want Spider-Man to develop and grow the way that he had been doing. It bums me the fuck out. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm worried about DC and Marvel just because they have the shittiest, dumbest people in charge, and you have easy access to see what the fans think of you, and to hear what they want out of these characters and how they feel about the stories. And I can't think of a single point in the past decade where it's like, man, the fans are right. We're fucking up. Let's course correct. Instead, it's like, nah, man, we're going to double down. We're going to keep making these shitty decisions. We're going to keep pissing people off because apparently that sells. And it just, I don't know, man. Like, they've lost me as a buyer. I can't keep doing that to myself. I can't justify my wallet to pay, you know, $40+ a month on books just to get pissed off. Like, there's no reason for me to do that to myself. When I could be supporting series that I enjoy and companies that aren't fucking up. But yeah, that's where I'm at with comics, and just bummed out in general. But yeah, I hope Penguin's good. I'm gonna have to check that out later on. And then Joker comes out in like 2 weeks, I think. That one I'm kind of nervous about. They earned my trust with their first movie, but I don't know. It just, the musical aspect is what scares me. And it's not. I don't think there's original songs. I think it's just covers. And I don't know. It just feels like, why not go all out here? Why not bring in Music Meister? I don't know. If you're gonna go for such a big departure, why not go all out with it? I'm sure it'll be fine. You know, I trust Joaquin Phoenix. I trust Gaga. You know, I trust the writers and directors after the first Joker movie. So I'm gonna see it. But I'm hesitant to just be like super hyped about it. I'm just gonna walk in with low expectations and hopefully be blown away. That being said, I remember watching Joker 1 in theaters, and that shit was wild. It was so bizarre to walk into the theater and see police stationed out front because of how badly the media wanted there to be a copycat shooting. Like, that shit was so bizarre to me. Like, they just kept going, oh, well, you know, the Dark Knight Rises had a shooter, so what if Joker has one? Are people gonna go to theaters and risk getting shot? And it was like, Dot, what are you doing? Why are you trying to fearmonger and manifest this shooting? Like, ratings can't be that bad. And I haven't heard anything like that for Joker 2. You know, so it just, I don't know, man. It was a weird moment in time. Was that pre-COVID? Man, that's crazy to think about. That was forever ago. But yeah, haven't really had much time for anything else this week. It's been very busy. Lots of meetings, lots of extra stuff that just really doesn't matter, you know? Like, things that could have been emails. A lot of cool stuff on the horizon. I guess I'll be teaching mariachi in the next few months, so that'll be interesting. I've always sucked with string instruments just because I get super tense and it really burns in my left forearm when I'm playing violin. And I just never known how to like release that tension properly. It's a me issue, I think, more than anything. But back in college, like, it hurt to play string instruments, and it was at the point where I could only practice for maybe 15-20 minutes at a time, and then I'd have to stop, put it down for like an hour, because my arm and my hand were just in so much pain that I couldn't continue. But you know, I'm older now. I'm more experienced. I'm wiser, hopefully wiser. So I think I can do it now without being in pain for, you know, hours afterwards. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun learning a new style. It's fun learning new instruments. So, you know, hoping for the best there. It's always funny watching kids make sound on an instrument for the first time. They lose their mind, and it's really rewarding. But at the same time, it's like, man, if you enjoy this, I just set you down a life of suffering, and I'm sorry, little one. You know, I just set you up for a life of sitting in a practice room, letting that self-doubt grow. You know, my bad, G. And like, don't get me wrong, I love music. I love playing music. I love teaching music. But I don't know. I feel like it's never really talked enough about to kids, at least from my experience. Like, I've never really seen it discussed in a manner where it's like, yeah, if you want to be good at this, if you want to be professional, whether that means being a performer or an educator, then you're dedicating hours a day to practice. You know, you're dedicating hours a day to working and confronting your flaws. And the working on your flaws parts is probably the easy part. That's the part that, you know, you're just doing every day regardless, hopefully. It's confronting your flaws that's the problem. It's the part where you have to sit there and wonder why you can't play this passage, why you're struggling to hit that note, why in general, you know. That's the part that's always rough. um, I've known people who had it in them to be great musicians, and then they just hit that one obstacle, that one hump in their playing that they just could not get over, and it killed them, you know. And for me personally, you know, I love my teachers. You know, I think that they did great with me, but there were also times where they gave me some of the biggest moments of self-doubt in my life, where I just had to sit in a practice room just wondering what the fuck I was doing wrong in my life, wondering how I would make that same mistake over and over again, wondering if that was for me. And some people are able to get out of that, whether it be through just pushing through or via conversations with people that are close to them or just pure willpower. But some people, you know, that moment breaks them, and it's not something that I'm going to ever make fun of someone for, because that shit's rough. You know, and I mean, I'm sure that exists in every field, you know, but I'm speaking purely as a musician. But I never see that communicated to students. You know, you tell them, like, yeah, you have to put in work to get good, you have to put in practice hours, all that stuff. But I feel like it's never really communicated to be like, hey, this is hours of your day every day. This is something that you, every time you take a day off, you're setting yourself back like 2 days. You know, and there's gonna be some days where it just doesn't work, and it's not anything you're doing wrong. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's just you have a cough that day, and it's throwing you off. You know, just weird shit like that. And then at some point, you're gonna get too old to do it. You're gonna reach a point where your body just can't physically go at that level anymore. And then they have to experience it themselves, and it's like, you know, am I supposed to warn them about that, or am I supposed to let them find out for themselves? I don't know. It's fun, you know. I would never discourage anyone from playing. I would actively encourage most people, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of romanticized. That it's like, oh yeah, just play music. It's your passion. It's fun. Your passion's fun, so it's no problem putting in work into it. And then sometimes it's just like, man, I am not having a good time. I am not enjoying what I'm doing. And it's not that I don't enjoy playing music. It's like, I don't like the pieces that I have to play for this upcoming concert. Or I'm not enjoying string pedagogy, you know? Things like that, where you're not always going to enjoy your passion in that regard. And I don't know. I just wish that we could kind of step away from the romanticized idea of professional music and just realize that this is something that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of time. And I don't know, just find a way to explain to people, hey, if you pursue this life, it's gonna take a toll on you. And I don't even mean that in a negative way, because I still enjoy the life that I have as a result. But, you know, there are going to be some nights where you just sit there, you know, wondering why you're here. I don't know, maybe that's just a me thing, you know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know why I haven't switched these two yet. How much longer you have to level 30, bro? Okay, 1,000 more experience. Okay. Man, and you're still back here. That's so crazy. Man. This is probably one of my biggest issues with Gen 1 and Gen 3. Or like specifically the Kanto games here. there's no real good places to grind at a certain point. Um, like the current place we have to grind for is the Saffron Gym, but there's really nowhere for us to grind that isn't significantly weaker. And I don't know, you could have just put a patch of grass in Saffron City, you know? That would have fixed a lot of problems. And, of course, understandably, you know, Nuzlocking was never a plan for them when they built the game. They never had the idea of, oh, what if, you know, they box a Pokemon forever because of some weird challenge that they do. Like, yeah. But also, there should still be a place to grind. I think it's worse than Victory Road, when Victory Road caps off in like the 40s and then the Elite Four hit the 50s and you're just stuck grinding there forever because there's literally nowhere else to grind. But yeah, I don't know. Is there a spot where there's like level 25 Pokemon and I'm just being dumb about it? I don't know, man. I think I'm just still reeling from losing 3 Pokemon in such quick fashion. Like, I know that Vaporeon could technically, you know, should be in the party. That was just a crazy happenstance glitch, but at the same time, I feel like we gotta honor the rules of it, and on our journey to get back there, you know, it happened. So we just had to live with it. Okay, I'm gonna let you get to level 30 here, and then I'm gonna leave here and go get Furret so we can cut, and I can try to remember if that grass patch is better or not for grinding. Because I know there's legendaries in there at least, so that would help us a little bit. Haven't had a chance to read Berserk this week, which bums me out because I was really enjoying where I was at. I'm getting closer and closer to just reading Hunter x Hunter, especially with the return being like 2 weeks away. I want more Hunter x Hunter, but also I feel like I keep coming to that crossroads where it's like if I start reading again, I'm gonna come to this point where, you know, the story is on a hiatus, and I don't want to wish this on anyone, you know, but if anything happens to Togashi, you know, and the story is just incomplete, now I'm on that permanent cliffhanger. But you know, if I leave off where the anime left off with Gon meeting his dad and just the nice beautiful ending at the World Tree, I can be happy with that as an ending to Hunter x Hunter. Not the ending, but an ending, you know? I just don't know if I have in me to read a series like that and then have it be, you know, years of hiatus before the next chapter entry. Maybe I feel like I could comfortably read it once they get off the boat, but I want to read it now. I want to catch up with these characters in the world and just see what's going on. But it's I don't know, man. It's rough. It's a hard sail, but also I really miss that world. So I don't know. JJK. That last chapter was just super disappointing to me. We have one chapter left, and I just don't know, man. Like, I don't see how things could be wrapped up properly. Spoilers for JJK, obviously. I hate that everyone's alive. I hate that all these characters that Sukuna spent the past year just tossing around like fodder are just okay. Like, they're all alive. There was no casualties outside of Gojo. Maybe that's not even true. Maybe Gojo's back. We don't know yet. But it just felt like none of it mattered. feel like none of this past year after Gojo getting cut in half mattered. You know, I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and it just nothing past Gojo getting cut in half mattered until Yuji showed up. And I mean, that's kind of just like a common shonen thing, I guess you could say, where it's like, yeah, I know this dude's not going down until the hero shows up. But then again, in comparison, we have Hunter x Hunter, where Gon never fights the king. You know, they never meet. It's Netero that does that. It's Netero that puts that dude away. And it's not even like a successful match. It's Netero basically just being like, hey, this is the only way that I could stop you. Pure suicide, the atomic option, the worst of humanity, you know? Like, there were no winners in that arc. To think about an arc like that, and I compare Shibuya to Chimera Ant in the way that it was handled, and how good that arc was to me. To go from that to the ending of the Cooling Games just feels so sad. I don't know, man. I'm really confused by Gege or Gigi's decisions with the series. I don't understand how you could make arguably the most popular character in manga in the past like decade. This character who I would argue on his own sold the manga, you know, in Gojo obviously, and then hate him, and then be like, oh, actually I hate this character. I'm gonna do everything I can to just get this fucker out of the way. It just does not make sense to me. I don't know. I much rather would have had it just be that after the Gojo fight, the very next chapter is everyone jumping Sukuna, and Sukuna wipes them all away in one shot, and then it's Yuji versus Sukuna for a couple of chapters, then Todo shows up, and we have the battle as it goes on. None of the Yuta and Gojo's body stuff happens, and then, you know, we get a couple chapters where it's Megumi, and he's just trying to find the will to live, and he's talking to Yuji, and then you can have Nobara show up and have the ending go down as it went down, but have more chapters to give a proper epilogue to everyone and touch upon things. Because right now, the way it looks is that it looks like the ending is going to be the team going out on another mission, and it just feels like this isn't the series that I wanted that from. I don't want JJK to end on and the adventure continued kind of ending. That just feels so bizarre and out of place for this world. I don't know. I don't get it. And we also talked about this idea of, okay, well, you know, what if he's doing a fake out? What if next issue it turns out everyone's actually dead? You know, this is just some like false memory, like Yuji style or some shit. And even that, like, I don't want that either, because then we're just wasting these chapters. You know, it's so bizarre to me the way this is handled. And I heard some people say that, like, oh, well, you know, Shonen Jump is on a strict calendar, and, you know, when the series started, they said, hey, you only get 200 and whatever chapters, and now those chapters are up, so he has to stick to that deadline. I guarantee you, if Gege was like, hey, I want 10 extra chapters of JJK, no one in Shonen Jump is going to be like, oh, nope, sorry, we can't do that. They're going to be like, fuck yeah, dude, do 20, do 30, have another arc. You know, like, they're going to want that money printing series in their books. And I don't know, man. I don't get this. I don't get how JJ operates, where he's like, yeah, man, I have this super successful story that people would kill for. I'm gonna rush to the end because I want to do an idol manga. Like, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Just, I don't know, man. So many rough decisions at the end, and it just feels like such a waste of a chapter. Like, this is the penultimate chapter, and I'm wasting it on screen time for characters that should have died. I'm wasting it on characters and there's sub characters who I don't fucking remember. Like the one dude apologizing to the other dude. I was like, I don't fucking remember who you guys are. You're not important to me or to the plot. You were fodder that Sukuna should have killed, and now we're wasting time on you for some reason. And then everything about, like, consider this. Shibuya incident happened. Over the course of one night, an entire city just got fucking cratered. And then for the next couple weeks or months, I don't know how long the cooling game took, like, Tokyo was just uninhabitable by everyone except for sorcerers. Like, it was cut off from the world, you know? And then the fucking military got, like, attacked by demons and shit, and all that shit just kind of gets taken care of in a paragraph where it's like, yeah, the curses are in Tokyo or some shit, and yeah, I guess at some point we'll have to go confront the military. Alright. Like, that's how we explain all that shit? The world should be in shambles off of this event, you know? And instead it just feels like the bare minimum explanation. Like, that could have been an entire arc itself with just the recovery of the world from this series and how the average person is handling it. Like, there's a scene in the cooling games where we see Yuji's friends from the very first issue, and I thought, oh, she's being reintroduced to the story. Is she going to be important again? Are they coming back to try to restore some humanity here? Like, what's going on with them? And then they just never show up again. Like, that was it. They were just on panel for that one section, and then they just disappeared again. And I was like, what was the point? What are we doing? I don't understand. Like, why are we... But yeah, I have a ton of issues with the way that JJK's ending is being handled. I don't think there's any way that I'm going to be pleased with the final chapter. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping something happens where I'm just like, man, that was satisfying. But it's a hard sell right now. Chainsaw Man's dope. Chainsaw Man spoilers, you know. The whole gun and tank demon, that shit was, or devil, that shit was tight. That felt like one of the best chapters of part 2 by far. I don't know if I put it on like part 1 levels, but there was a lot of good things going on. I was gonna say Denji, but I guess it's Pochita. Taking the sign for the blood drive and just asking people for blood, great moment. You know, just how fucking sad Yoru was just being like, yeah, dude, they're my kids, so they're my property. Like, damn, son, it's like that. Overall, great issue. I feel like I've talked about it before, but you know, it just, a lot of part 2 felt like setup, and it just felt like, hey, at some point this has to pay off, right? And I feel like it's finally paying off. So I'm excited to see where this goes. One Piece, great intro to Elbaf. It's really crazy to think that we're in Elbaf now. Like, just how long it's been, and just, I don't know, like, it doesn't really feel real in a way. It doesn't feel real to just finally see these characters reach this point. I guess part of it's just because it means we're so close to the end. And I know that One Piece end is still, I don't know, another 5 or 6 years away. But it's something that's really weird to think about. Like, for so much of my life, it's, oh, One Piece is too long, and now we're here in the final arc, if you want to say it's the final arc, and then just kind of realize, like, oh yeah, this is getting close. You know, I hope we're not in Elbaf for like 5 years. I hope that it's 1 or 2 years at most. But it just feels like things are accelerating a lot. Maybe that's just because Wano was so long. I don't know. or I guess Wano and Whole Cake back to back were really long. And even then, I guess, like, you have Zoe, which is kind of a breather arc, but to go from Dressrosa and then Whole Cake and then Wano, with just crazy long arcs back to back to back with just that slight Zoa breather, it's a lot, you know. And then just kind of just speed run. Oh my god, I'm missing the Egghead to speed it. To kind of, I don't want to say speed run because there was a lot that went on there, but you know that arc could have been a lot longer, and it wasn't, which was good. I don't know. It feels kind of crazy to be here at Elbaf now, and I'd be cool with 2 to 2.5 years of Elbaf stories because there's just so many things that I want answers to, but at the same time, I don't want to say goodbye to these characters, you know. So I'd also be fine with Oda taking his time. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff being set up. But I don't know. I'm kind of concerned about Shonen Jump in general, just because it feels like they've lost so many big series in the past couple. Well, this year alone, you know, they're losing JJK. They've already lost My Hero. Black Clover is in. I don't know the name of the book, but it's in. Not in the main weekly book anymore. It's like once a month or something. And outside of One Piece, is there a series that is consistently popular in the main books? Like, I'm not gonna, you know, even pretend that Boruto is that series, you know. But I don't know, just what series are there to replace the ones that are leaving or finishing or already finished? The only one that I can really think of right now is Dandadan. But that's like online exclusive, right? Like, I don't even think that's gonna in the. I know it's not in the main book, right? And even then with Dan, I don't know how I really feel. Like, it's enjoyable. I think the art's incredible, but there's sometimes where it gets so juvenile that I gotta kind of take a step back and go, man, this would have killed me when I was like 14, but in my 30s, I'm kind of like, yeah, man, yeah. Like, oh, the plot of this arc is that he lost his balls and has to go retrieve them. All right, you know, like, cool. I don't know. I think I'm just getting older, but like, it's a funny idea. But there's times where I'm like, oh, I kind of wish it was a little more serious, you know? I don't know. A lot of juvenile humor, like those first few issues when they introduced Turbo Granny and she's just yelling about genitalia. I was like, oh, I don't know if the series is for me. And every now and then I'll see a spread where I'm like, holy shit, that's incredible. Or I'll hear about the current story arc and I'm like, oh, that seems worth checking out. You know, but then I'll get to a line like that and I just kind of take a step back and I'm like, oh, do I want to keep reading this? I don't know. Could just be me. Damn, getting real sleepy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm worried about Shonen Jump. I know that one sword manga seems to be really good. The one that was memed to hell and back about how good it was gonna be, and then it actually, I guess, turned out to be good. But I haven't read it yet, so, you know, holding my judgment on it. Hoping for the best, though. You know, hoping that it's good, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything that's drawn me in. I hear good things about Kaiju number 8. Just haven't had the chance to go and sit down and watch or read it. I don't know. I don't think it's an issue of me getting older necessarily, because there's still times where I'm like, oh, that looks cool. You know, like with JJK. But I don't know. There just hasn't been anything that's like grabbed my attention and been like, oh, I need to read or watch this. I know that Hell's Paradise was supposedly good, and I started watching like the first episode, and then I was like, oh, I'll get back to this when I have some time, and then I just never made the time for it. You know, so maybe I'll watch that in the next couple of days. Just get something else under my belt, and then read the manga because I don't think the anime is close to being finished. Same thing with Dr. Stone, and with Dr. Stone, it wasn't so much that I didn't enjoy it because I really enjoyed that first season, but there was just such a long break between seasons 1 and 2, and I know that the manga is out and finished, so I could just read that. But sometimes the length between seasons just kills my interest because it's like, oh, I'll wait till it's done, or oh, I'll wait till there's more available. And then by the time it comes out, I'm just like, oh, right, I guess I should make time for this series now. Like with Attack on Titan, for example, I read the manga before I saw the anime. So when that first season came out, I was really hyped to watch it go down. But at that point, I think, I could be completely wrong here, the manga was in like the first big government arc, and I got bored of it because I was like, yeah, I feel like every chapter ends on a cliffhanger and then the next chapter doesn't answer anything. So I'm going to take some time away from this, and I'm going to come back when we get some more answers. And then by the time that the second season of the anime came, like, I didn't really care because I was like, oh, yeah, that was years ago. I'm not sure if I still remember much about that world. And I don't think I went back to the anime until like season 3. And then I caught up on season 3, and I was like, well, season 4 is coming out pretty soon. I think I'm just gonna wait on the anime. But then they were like, alright, this is, you know, supposed to be the last season, and then it wasn't the last fucking season. And I was like, fuck it, I'm reading the manga, I want the answers now, it's almost over. And I caught up, I think, 3 issues from the end. And then I had this whole feeling of like, I didn't really enjoy the ending of the manga. I just felt like there was a lot of mistakes there. Like Armin thanking Eren for only wiping out 88%. It was just weird decisions like that where I was like, why would you write that? You know? And then when the final season part 2 came out, I just couldn't find reason to care. I was like, if they're not going to finish this, then I'm not going to bother watching the anime right now. Especially if they don't fix the ending, you know. And then when they released the final part, the movie, I was like, alright, maybe it's for checking out, but I gotta sit down and rewatch rewatch season 5 or 6, whatever the fuck it actually was. And I just couldn't be motivated to do that. I was like, man, I don't know. I feel like the anime took so long between seasons that I just kind of checked out. And a large part of that was them advertising it as the final season. I feel like if they had just said like, hey, this is season 5, 6, and then the ending movie, I would have been totally on board with it and been like, okay, I can wait, you know, another year between these seasons. Because they were like, this is the final season. JK, this is the final season part 2. JK, this is the final season part 3 of the movie. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I care anymore, you know? It just felt like such a weird decision that checked me out of the anime. To the point that I still haven't seen the final season. I saw the clip where they fixed the ending, so I'm like, yeah, maybe I kind of do want to watch it all, to just because those few lines they changed and the few scenes they rearranged make a big difference in what happened. But I just don't know if I care, you know, and that bums me out because I really love that series for a majority of its run. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, or maybe there's just not a big series that hasn't come out yet, or is out but just hasn't reached that point in time yet. I know Daima comes out in the next couple weeks, so I'm excited for that. Excited that Kid Goku's dub voice is gonna come back, and I'll be real, that was the selling point on the dub for me. I prefer the dub Dragon Ball stuff to the sub, but towards the end of Super, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago or something. In Tournament Power, they had the Ultimate Battle song, and the English version was so ass that I just never finished watching the dub. And in recent years, they've replaced Kid Goku's voice with the voice actress for Luffy. Or well, rather, they replaced Kid Goku and Young Gohan. And I don't necessarily think the voice is bad. I like Luffy, Dub Luffy. I like Dub Luffy, but the original Kid Goku voice actress was just so perfect that it just feels wrong to hear it any other way. So when they announced, like, oh yeah, original Kid Goku voice actress coming back for the dub, I was like, all right, that's all I needed. I'm sold. Now I want to watch the dub whenever it comes out, which, you know, could be like another year. I don't know if it's being simulcast or not, but yeah, like, I'm excited for it now. I don't know. Dime is weird to me just because it's more Toriyama Dragon Ball, but it's like the last Toriyama Dragon Ball, and that's just weird to me to think about. I was watching the Super Eye Patch Wolf video that came out, I think, like yesterday or something, where he ends on how important Toriyama was to him, and Toriyama is just one of those people that, you know, influenced everyone. And when I think about my life, if it wasn't for Toriyama, like, I wouldn't have the friends that I do. I wouldn't have gotten into music. I wouldn't be on the path that I am now. I wouldn't have the relationships that I have. And it's all because of Toriyama. I remember in 6th grade, or I guess rather 5th grade, like, I was new to the school. And one day I was at Blockbuster and I saw, I believe it's like issue 3 or 5 of Shonen Jump on the magazine rack. It's the one with Yugi on the cover. And I think it came with a card. I can't remember what the card was though. It's not the first issue with the blue eyes. It's like a yellow cover. I think Summon Skull was with them or some shit. But I remember I saw that and I started reading it. And then every month I would look forward to Shonen Jump. But I would bring them to school with me to read. And then other kids would see me reading them. So we'd start talking about Shonen Jump. And then, you know, those friends were the ones who got me into watching wrestling. And then later on, you know, those relationships got me into music. And then getting into music led to me becoming a music teacher and all that good stuff. And it's all because Dragon Ball Z existed and I picked up a Shonen Jump for it, you know? Like, I don't know. It's just really crazy to think about Akira Toriyama just being gone. And that this is like his farewell, you know? I don't know. It's weird to think about. But I'm getting pretty sleepy, so I think we're just going to beat this Zacian and call it a night. I did buy him right on deck. I kind of was like, alright, I'm going to get it. I've been playing more Pokemon TCG, and I've been enjoying it a lot. But right now I'm like stuck on a Charizard deck, so in the next couple of days I'm going to pick up the rest of it so I can start hitting up locals. I don't know what it's called officially because it's Charizard EX, but it's like, I think it's a Steel type or something, where you activate it either on the bench or on the field, and then you just get like 3 energies to put on things blindly. That shit's busted, and I've been hung up on that deck. So like, I have them right on stuff, but why would I ever not play the Charizard? It's been a lot of fun. Still getting used to the deck building aspects of it, though. I don't know. It's exciting to see where that goes, especially because the tins came out and Yu-Gi-Oh is just such an awkward spot, you know. But that is what it is. I'll have more to talk about that next week. Until then, peace.